if you guys listen to this whole podcast, at the end, we're actually going to share the list of the best off-market commercial properties that are available right now. These are highly exclusive.
The real estate biz is drastically changing, and modern real estate success can't be learned in some old course manual. This is everything they never told you about real estate, where industry leaders expose secrets to success, contemporary lead generation, and how to dominate social media. All moderated by your host, the real estate goat and queen of social media, Carrie.
Welcome. I am your host, Carrie, and I'm joined with my favorite commercial realtor in the whole of Canada. His name is Robby Pruthi. He also is the broker owner of Cosmopolitan Realty. And I co-list a lot with him on the commercial side because he is amazing at what he does. And I thought we should turn the subject more over to commercials just to give some insight into everybody listening. Hi, Robby. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, Carrie. Thank you for having me on the most anticipated podcast. Thank you.
I've been trying to get Robby on the podcast for about 2 months now, and he's finally cleared his schedule for me. But must be really busy. You do have a Cosmopolitan Realty brokerage, and you have 2 locations, correct?
That is correct. Yes. So, Carrie, we do have a location in beautiful Niagara region where you are, and then the other location we have is the GTA. So that way we do cater the audience of GTA and Niagara and north side of GTA, which is as up as Sudbury, Timmins, Kapuskasem. So we cover that area as well when it comes to commercial, and as west as probably Windsor or as south as Niagara. So pretty much everywhere.
I love it. So just to give an audience a little bit of a teaser, if you guys listen to this whole podcast, at the end, we're actually going to share the list of the best off-market commercial properties that are available right now. These are highly exclusive, so you definitely want to listen to the end. Robby, let's start off by talking about commercial real estate. It is a completely different monster than residential. I dabble in it, I don't do obviously as much as you do. But what most people don't know is that the best deals and the best projects are not available on MLS. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So all the good stuff is actually off market because these people they not want to put it out there in the market that hey we are for sale. But at the same time, every business wants to at certain time they want to move on with other projects and whatnot. So they come up to people like yourself and me, and then we help them offloading their assets.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
you're absolutely right. This
yeah.
product is not for sale. And it is for sale. Put it that way.
Everything's for sale.
Yeah, at the right price.
Yeah. So how would an agent like us, let's go over how we would market a property and get a buyer for an off-market commercial listing? What do you do?
So basically, when you're doing a product which is exclusive, first thing first, it's exclusive for a reason, right? They don't want it to be out in the market, so we have to respect that. First thing, but that's very important. Now they are reaching us because we are in the commercial, real estate world, and we do know the people, or we do know the interested parties who will actually go for that kind of asset. So this does come with experience, I would say. You'll probably, I've been in the industry now 14 plus years. And when I started my real estate career, I was a businessman myself. And me in the business, the kind of leads I was getting, it was all commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it all started. So now with the experience of 14 years now, whatever knowledge I have, I probably know people who are in the hotel industry. I know people who are in the land development. I know the people who are in the retirement home business. Know people who are in the who are very active in industrial, lands or industrial buildings,
Mm-hmm.
like one of the listings we are working on together.
Yeah.
So basically, it does come with experience, but at the same time, with time, you get to know who to approach for that kind of product. Like for example, you have a plaza,
Mm-hmm.
which is given a decent return of 6-7% return, and then you approach uh, like a residential client, he wouldn't know anything about it. Like you have to basically guide him, teach him, and still they wouldn't. So basically, you need to know who you're targeting at when you have to sell that project.
Yeah. And how do you build? So like obviously you have, as I have, a database of potential buyers, investors who you would send these off-market properties to. How do you build that up? Like where would an agent start?
Good question. So basically, again, as I said, like that data basically comes to you with experience. At the same time, for example, one of the uh, one of the best platforms which you could work for in Ontario market is Business Exchange. When you probably advertise in Business Exchange, you will probably get to see a lot of leads coming from them, which, let's say, on my Business Exchange ads, I would probably list some of my properties which are not on MLS. So basically, if I have, let's say, a retirement home, and the people who are inquiring about retirement home, obviously they are from the industry or they are more inquisitive about that part. So basically, we save that data. If I have an ad for a franchise hotel, let's say, like I do deal in lots of flagged hotels. So somebody is asking for that. It means these people are from the industry. And obviously, when you talk to them, you kind of find out that okay, if they are from the industry, or do they need more knowledge, or yes or no. So basically, you talk to them, you understand that, okay, this is what they're looking for. And then basically, you save that data in that category. If somebody's asking for a hotel, you save it in a hotel category. If somebody's asking for a plaza, you save them in a plaza category. So that's how you basically create that data.
Yeah. So it's obviously a lot easier. Like for me, it was a lot easier to build my agent database. So I have a much larger agent database, like commercial agent database, than I do an investor database. And that works really well too, because, they all have, most of these commercial agents have been in the business for 10 plus years and they have their own extensive database. So it's really a lot about networking. I do a lot of Facebook groups. So there are groups designed for off market and commercial properties in Ontario. I also will post if the owner allows me, because sometimes they don't want any marketing at all. But if they allow me, I will post it on my socials because I have a pretty good reach in the tens of thousands there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So social media is these days, the best way to reach out to your audience. You can probably do sponsored ads. Again, as you said, if the owner allows you to put it on social media, uh, then you should probably work on doing probably posting it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So these are the new ways from which you can probably get a lot of data, which means that a
Yeah.
lot of inquiries will do come from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
So
you're a male commercial realtor, so you are beautiful male. I love you so much, Robby. It is
uh,
much different for women in the industry, and I just need to put out there, I'm going to say this for any of the females working or wanting to get into commercial real estate, it's not all assholes. You have to find the people who move with integrity, like Robby, like Jamie, our friend Jamie, that we network with a lot. There are some amazing realtors in commercials, so don't be afraid to get involved. Just surround yourself with the right people. It's kind of like a team effort commercial, right? So
It is.
yeah, yeah, you
I
want to be
100%.
yeah, you want to be surrounded with the right team. Obviously, you don't want a weak link in there. Let's talk about what would
I would
you
like to add that to the teamwork. I would like to add that, especially in the commercial real estate world, there are certain deals where, as we know, that most of the product is not on MLS, so you have to work within the team you're working with. It doesn't matter if it's your own brokerage person or if you're working with
yeah.
someone like yourself from another brokerage or Jamie from another brokerage. So basically, we have to work as a team, in order to find the right client. So
Mhm.
don't be shy of talking to other realtors that you're gonna like they're gonna steal your listing or they're gonna steal your client. Just talk to them. Like you have to work with integrity, as you said,
Mhm.
and then you have to trust each other. You have to work with the right set of people in order to make the deal happen.
Okay, so can I tell you, I'm going to share with you, Robby, my worst experience in commercial real estate. And you're going to get a kick out of this. It was right when I started. And I want to say that I didn't choose commercial. It wasn't my, top choice. It's very intricate details and a lot of liabilities, and it's very intimidating when you first start out. However, my network, my sphere of influence pushed me into it because you got to work within your contacts, right? And my contacts, there's a lot of commercials and investors. So I got this listing off market, and it was, oh God, how long ago is this? I feel like this was like 7 years ago, and it was
Mm-hmm.
$28 million, and it was a $500 million build. So it was, I think it was around 2 acres, and um, it was quite extensive. Like, how many people have a $500 million to build a high rise, water facing condominium project? Like, it was over 60 levels. And I got this off market, and I did all the
I
things,
think I know the one you're talking about.
I did all the things. I contacted all the agents because I didn't have my own investors to buy it. I contacted agents who may have it, and they contacted other agents because that's how this works in commercial when it's a very big project. Sometimes your buyer will come from an agent through an agent through an agent. So I get a call from this one guy in Toronto, and my girlfriend says, Susanna, and she's like, let's go meet with him. He says he has a buyer. So I'm like, okay. We drive all the way to Toronto in rush hour. We get to the restaurant, shake their hand. Nice to meet you. I sit down, and the agent says to me, how did you get this listing? And I said, well, it doesn't matter because I have it. And he said, I have buyers, but I won't bring them unless you co-list it with me. And I stood up and I said, you just wasted 2 hours of my fucking time, and I will never deal with you again. And I left. And that's my
Wow.
personal worst experience because he knew I was new in commercial. He knew that I was fresh. He thought that he could manipulate me. He was insulted that somebody like me could get a listing like this when he couldn't. And it was the worst experience. And can I be honest, Robby? This was 8 years ago. This experience made me take a step back from commercial for about 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you ever encounter with him again? Ever?
Never, never. Which says a
Yeah.
lot too, because, obviously he's not doing deals if I haven't seen him.
Well, I'm sure he's watching your podcast somewhere.
I know. Hi, asshole.
Hello, sir.
but,
Carrie is rocking in commercial real estate. FYI.
but this is a real problem. Uh, I think for
Yeah.
females just getting in the business, right? Like yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. See, commercial real estate, I talk to several agents and they say, hey, Robby, you want to be in the commercial real estate? And I ask them why. They're like, oh, because, these deals are, you guys are dealing deals just 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. I'm like, yeah, but you have to like commercial real estate. You have to know the numbers. This should be coming from within. It's not that, oh, you're going to get a big paycheck. Because sometimes for real estate, like commercial, this is important. The deal can close in as little as 3 months, or it could take as just 3 years. It can
Yeah.
take 3 years to close, and I have my own experience with that. So if you're dealing in only commercial real estate, and then you still need your monthly paycheck, how are you going to work on that? So you have to like it, in order to do commercial real estate. Like an average price tag on a residential real estate, let's say in my region is let's say about $700,000, 800,000. In Toronto, it is about $1 million price tag. If you're doing at least 4 or 5 deals of residential, which is about 4 to 5 million, these people they don't need to do like commercial real estate because they're making as good as any commercial dealers.
Yeah.
So basically, you have to like it from within in order to do commercial real estate. And this is the message which I'm going to put to all the newer agents who
Mhm.
just want to say, hey, your paychecks are big, but no, it does take a long time to get that paycheck.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to bring that up because whenever I get like some commercial listings, and usually my sellers, it's their first commercial property and they aren't familiar with commercial, and they're like, "Why hasn't this sold? It's been on the market for a week." And I'm like,
Exactly. Absolutely. It's not a house. You gotta understand that. For commercial, these people see you are dealing with investors, and uh, I don't know if you ever heard that. They say every investor is a buyer, but not every buyer is an investor, right? So
"Mhm,
every investor, he's going to be buying no matter what, but he has different way of calculating his numbers. And buyers, they are just buying just because they like that property, like, oh, I want it. They do not look at the future. They just want, to live in that property. But when it comes to investors, they want to look at everything, every aspect that, okay, is this kind of property appreciate? First of all, they work on all the numbers. They gotta look at what's happening in Canadian market. They gotta see what's happening in U.S. market. They gotta see the whole global market. They check every little thing. So that's why it does take time for them to do their due diligence. Obviously, banking is completely different when it comes to commercial.
mhm."
The banks, they want to assess the property in their own way. They want to make sure the environmentals are done on the property. They want to make sure phase one, phase two, and all the other studies before they say, hey, okay, this property is good to go. Now we get a mortgage. So it does. Commercial real estate does take a lot of time.
Yes, and
Not
even
residential. Good.
yeah, even with the financing, like most of the time you need an environmental, and that takes time. Like there's so many moving parts to these commercial deals.
Yeah,
Um
yeah,
okay, so
yeah, absolutely.
can I share with you another thing that I have noticed in the past couple years about commercial realtors, okay?
Yeah,
There's
that's
there's some commercial realtors that like you, like myself, like many, there's a lot of them who hustle. Okay. I mean, they work when there's a deal to be done, period. And then there's like a lot of agents who don't work past 4 o'clock or on weekends or, you know, ask me for a 1 week irrevocable when their client is like right there. It's just,
exactly.
I've noticed two sides, and I gotta tell you, the side I just talked about drives me a little fucking nuts, right? Like I remember submitting an offer for a buyer on a commercial condo, and I couldn't even get this guy on the phone for 2 days. And when he finally called me back, I called him again on the third day, and he answered. And I said, "Did you not get my text messages? I'm bringing you an offer." And he said, "Oh, no, no. I took 2 days off and shut my phone off." Just like, what?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there are certain agents which I don't want to mention any names, but there are some people they have to change. Like that's why I want to be. That's another reason I want to be in commercial. The people I was trying to buy one apartment building for myself, and then I called this agent, and just same experience like yours. This guy, and I was like a direct buyer approaching him. He did not respond for 2 weeks. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? And then I found out that there are many agents, especially commercial agents, they don't want to answer after 5 o'clock. You know, Thursday evening is their timeline. After that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, forget it. You'll probably hear back from them on a Monday. So this is the kind of mindset we have to change. That I mean, that's the reason I came in this industry. I'm like, no, like, if you have a client, you gotta make sure that you take care of the client. If he wants something now, you gotta. We respect that. Okay, weekends fine, but at the same time, you need some sort of an answer at certain point. Like these people, they just take forever, and I personally, I do not endorse that. No.
Yeah. I know. I love working with an
If you
agent.
call me on a weekend, you have tried to call me on the weekend. You heard me. I always reply.
Yeah, yeah, always. I love that. I've also noticed, here's another observation. Let's talk about this. Um, Deals don't go as smoothly as residential. Obviously, that's a given, but I feel like I've listed one, two, three. Okay, so I've listed three of the commercial properties that I have listed in the last few months, 2, 3 months. I've gotten full price offers on, and they've still not gone through or not been accepted because either the seller decided he want more money last minute, or you know whatever, for whatever reason. It is very common, and I would like agents to know this. It is very common. Just because you have a listing, you're not going to, doesn't mean you're going to sell it. It may fall apart 5 times before you actually get a deal together, correct?
Absolutely, I agree with you. So, especially in the commercial real estate world, since you are, let's say if you're selling a hotel and now somebody puts an offer for, let's say, whatever amount, and now the seller motivation for that number is changed because his numbers have gone up, or,
Mhm.
his numbers, or he got some other good opportunity which he can find within the business himself. So, like one of the deals which we are working on, same idea, right? So
Yeah.
these people they keep on like their motivation is that okay, if they can generate more revenue, they might not sign that listing because their motivation changes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it does happen a lot in commercial real estate. So that's one. Yeah, you have to kind of see the motivation when you're getting the listing. And
Yeah.
see that how serious you are, 'cause especially when you're looking for a client, for a ticket of let's say $5 million, price tag, and then finally if you find one, and now you have a seller who changes his mind, it's like you put all your energy and all your time, and then nothing happens. So this unfortunate part does happen in the real estate world, especially in commercial real estate world.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of it this summer. But that's okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I just keep powering on, and that's why I will always do residential as well, because residential is like a nice steady, for me, I've built up my residential
absolutely.
business, so it's pretty reliable for me, as for you as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We can never leave that aspect of doing residential real estate. That because you always have your friends and families coming to you. They want to only work with you because they trust you. So we cannot say, hey, I only do commercial. So we do that part as well, and which does help in paying our regular bills for sure.
Okay, so I have a personal question, and I hope you answer it. Okay, so what's the biggest commercial commission check you have ever received off one deal?
So is CRA watching your podcast?
Who?
Is CRA watching your podcast? Wow. Yeah, I've got probably 6 digits. Yeah, few
Yeah.
6 digits commission checks.
Okay.
So yeah, but as I said, those deals they are not like done in one day. They take a lot of time. A lot of commitment, a lot of dedication is put in that deal. And then I think at that time when you finally receive that paycheck, you deserve it. You
Right.
deserve every of it. Yes, because these commercial deals make you work hard for sure. There's a lot of brain involved in that. A lot of talking, a lot of phone calls. A lot of communication between you, the lawyers, the sellers, the buyers. When you combine all these efforts and all the time you put in, it's worth it.
How long did it take you to do that one sale?
So there was one sale which we initially when I approached. Actually, it was my listing, but as we know, commercial real estate, you have to find the right soul for that kind of property. So it took me about 9 months to find the right client who was the right fit. And then by the time we got an offer, and by the time they firmed up, it took another 8 months.
Mhm.
So essentially, let's say 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
There you
so
go.
because it was yeah, but then it was like a big property which had an upside of development. It was already given a return of almost you know 6-7% return. So it has all the positives, and then we were able to secure that the deal. The buyer was super happy at the end of the day. We did a big grand celebration. So it was a good deal.
Nice. I love it. Congratulations. Can you
Oh,
tell
oh, thank
me, can you tell me your commercial real estate biggest nightmare?
you. Biggest nightmare. Yeah. See, we all thrive on the Canadian real estate thrive on the economy, like with lots of immigrants coming to this country, and I feel like if something happens with the interest rates, and let's say if anything happens to the economy,
Hmm.
the rates are going up right now, and then people are talking about recession and whatnot. That scares me. But again, that is something from which, like from recession, also many opportunities are going to come. So actually, at the same time, I'm looking forward to anything and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And okay, so you have a brokerage in GTA, you have a brokerage in Niagara. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Niagara because you do a lot of land for development packages. You sell those to developers. Um, I've noticed there's a lot of inventory, like site plan approved inventory lately in Niagara. Would you agree?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of stuff happening in Niagara region right now. Since I'm part of Niagara, so I get to see what kind of developments are happening in different section of Niagara region. So right
Yeah.
now, other than Niagara Falls, we have Welland, we have Port Erie, Port Colborne, Rainfleet, all these areas where a lot of stuff like I get to see the product which is site plan approved. Or there are lands where you can do so many houses, you can do so many condos. So a lot of stuff we get to know before it comes before you get to see the grades. That okay, this project is coming over. You get to see all the the roads being built, we get to know about all this stuff. And Niagara right now is the main point of attraction for everyone because it has an X factor of tourism. Everybody knows that, right? So last 5 to 6 years, I'm sure like yourself, you get to see the kind of growth Niagara had.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And then the kind of projects which are going to be happening in Niagara in the next 5 years, like I see it as a Doug Ford says it's going to be the Vegas of North. So that's the kind of Niagara I anticipate. That's the kind of Niagara I foresee already. Where
Yeah.
you're going to be seeing all the big buildings right by the water, right by the by the Clifton Hill area of Niagara Falls, where you get to see all the tourists. So we're gonna have Vegas, which is Niagara, which is gonna look like Dubai. So that's how I foresee Niagara.
Love
For
it.
people who want to invest in Niagara, I think this is a good time right now.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now,
Yeah.
okay, so if people aren't familiar with valuating an commercial property, we use cap rate to come up with value and justify value, and that is based on the net operating income. Okay. So in Niagara, it's going to be an ideal cap rate is going to be different than it's going to an appealing one in Toronto. What would be if you were looking, so for all of the potential investors out there, or maybe realtors who want to get into commercial, maybe have a couple commercial buyers, what is a decent and valuable cap rate in the Niagara region that people should be looking for?
Very tricky question right now. So the cap rate, yeah, if you're strictly working on the numbers lately, because the rates have gone up, as everybody knows. But the decent cap rate, even with this, considering the global market, is about, again, depending on the kind of product you're dealing with, if it's a brand new build versus, an older building, that also does make a difference because of the construction cost. We all know that. Again, right now, an average cap rate in Toronto area is about, let's say, 4.5%, 5%.
Okay.
Considering even the rates what they have right now from the bank. In Niagara, Niagara is kind of following the trend of Toronto right now, and I see the product here anywhere between 5-7% will be like wow. So the sweet spot, let's say 5, 5.5, 6. It's a decent cap rate considering the scenario of what's happening in Niagara right now.
Yeah. Okay. That's some really good insight. And if anybody has any more questions, feel free to reach out to either one of us. I do want to, we're going to go through our list of off-market inventory. So if you are in the market for a commercial property right now, you're going to hear land for development, industrial, commercial, plazas, multi-res. You're going to hear a little bit of everything. I also want to point out that I have created an Instagram channel. Channels are new on Instagram. It's basically a broadcasting outlet on Instagram. And if you search me or you follow me on Instagram, you'll easily see it. And it is dedicated for me to share all of this not on MLS inventory with you guys so that it gives more exposure. Maybe you can find something for your buyers. So follow me on Instagram for sure and make sure you get added to that channel. So Robby, let's start. I want to start with mine. Can I start with my off market?
Of course, ladies first.
Okay, so right now I have a light industrial commercial plaza in Niagara Falls on Stanley, not on MLS, $3 million, and it's a 6.1 cap at 3 mil. So that's a really good deal. We just talked about cap rate. Get in a hold of me if you're interested. Robby, what else do we got going on?
Talking about your industrial plaza, you should be getting an offer on that soon. Now, what I do have a lot of inventory. Again, let's start with my latest listing, which I have is again off market. People who are interested in self storage business. Self storage is another good passive income. I have one of those, which is netting about $300,000. It's like super passive income. You're not dealing with any human, you're not dealing with any landlord tenant board. You're just having your self storage. People come and put their stuff, and if these people are not paying you, basically, you're not even allowed to get into your unit. So I've got one of those buildings, which is a great business right now. A lot of demand for those kind of businesses. So I do have one of those. The ask price on that one is $6 million, and netting about $300,000, which is one of the nicest listing I have. Other than that, people who are looking to develop in Niagara, I do have opportunities where you can do stack towns, you can do townhomes, and this project is pretty much draft plan approved, ready to go. So this will be a good one for let's say a builder who wants to build in Niagara region. We are talking about the gross margin to that builder about between 30 to 40% of return, so which is a great return when it comes to building. So that project I have is in Berlin. The price tag on that is 5.5 million for about over 52 units. Okay, so that's one of my development listing. Other than that, I do have some multi-family options. So people who are looking for, let's say, 20-door apartment building or 50-unit apartment building, so you can work. So I do have those kind of listings. I do have a huge list, my dear. So again, different categories. People who are looking for, franchise hotel in Niagara region in the tourist area. I've got that. If somebody wants to, as I mentioned before, if you want to do a high-rise condo building in Niagara region, or even in fact, I have one option in Toronto area, so we can probably do that. Again, price starts from commercial listing my.
Thanks for listening to everything they never told you about real estate. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. To connect with Carrie or for more information about her coaching program, check out carriesauve.ca or at Carrie Sauve and Associates on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
If you are an investor or a buyer, and you want somebody experienced, get a hold of either one of us. If you're a realtor who wants to dabble in commercial real estate, get a hold of us. You want to be surrounded by the right people. You need good mentors. Robby, thank you so much for finally showing your face on my podcast. And I'm so glad you did.
Thank you.
We're going to be doing this, I think, once every couple months because it's really important to get our inventory out there, talk about the changes that are happening in the commercial industry here in Ontario. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of Robby. Thank you so much, Robby.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thanks for listening to everything they never told you about real estate. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. To connect with Carrie or for more information about her coaching program, check out carriesauve.ca or at Carrie Sauve and Associates on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.